my background is when I was 17, I'll just give you the very condensed version. When I was 17, I came to America. It was a very exciting and fantastic time of my life. I came from England, but it was also a very traumatizing time of my life. I had one specific traumatic event, but then going back to England was also very traumatizing because my family had gone and my home had gone. And basically it was just too much to feel. And I would sit and I would go, this is too much, you know? There was so many emotions. And simply I didn't have the capacity at that time to feel all of that. You know, your home, your family, really being swept away and having no direction or idea of where you were going to go in the world. But what I did have was this innate knowing, that I call it, to sit down and to get quiet and to go inside. And I did that. I was 17, 18. And something extraordinary happened for me that put me on a path of exploration and curiosity all the way up until now. So as I sat down and went quiet inside, this might sound a little strange, my crown opened up. And I could experience this fabulous, immeasurable space that was so loving, but not in a loving way that I would ordinarily receive, you know, from my parents or my friends or know myself. It was a very quiet, yet saturating presence of love. And I had no framework or understanding of what this was. I wasn't in a spiritual community. I'd never read any spiritual books. It was just this instantaneous opening. And what it did was made me go, what on earth is that? You know, I want to understand what that was. And I had no idea which way to go to find that out. Where I was in England, as far as I knew, you know, there was no communities, or I just didn't hear it talked about. So I just continued to sit. And I would just sit down, I'd get very quiet, I would go inside, I would just notice my breath, I would notice my body, and here would this space open up. And I was talking to a neuroscience recently about this. We were sharing some stories, and they said, well, you just completely wired your system at that young age still by meditating to allow yourself to continue on the path that you did in a very embodied way. So that got me very interested in a spiritual journey that eventually led me to teachers. As I got older, obviously I wanted to seek people out. I came back to America. I was fortunate to find some very brilliant teachers who gave oral teachings that you actually won't find written down, who were able to see and understand where I was in my own spiritual practice and give me the next instruction of practice. And so I would do that. And had some very profound states of being open up that I integrated. And it was phenomenal. It changed my whole life in great ways. One of the ways it changed it was to realize that compassion is suffering, and suffering is compassion. In a non-conceptual way, I think if we take that and conceptualize it in any way, it's almost meaningless. But the direct realization of that. And that's when I chose to work with trauma rather than be more on the side of talking about spirituality. Because all of a sudden I realized I can be in a very traumatizing space and see it as a suffering that it really is. I don't think we should deny that suffering is real at all. But at the same time, know it is a manifestation of compassion or of spirit itself.